Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Africam show. I'm Kelly Oldacre. I'm going to be here with you for the show. And remember, we're live and interactive. So please send us through your comments, questions, and I will be getting through as many of them as I possibly can during the show. First of all, good day. Hi from Bridget McKinney. Warm day in Arizona, 40 degrees. Ooh, that is warm. That is super, super hot. I hope everyone is settled, like these wildebeest are apparently at the back here at Tau Waterhole. A waterhole I know very, very well. I was at Tau for several years guiding, and what year was that? I started there in 2013, and those crocodiles were smaller than they are now. They're definitely getting big. But these wildebeest also look like they're nice and settled, chewing the cud there at the back. One thing I always really enjoyed about Madikwe, there was lots of general game there. We'd often see big groups of these wildebeest, and just after the babies were born, it was so loud. It looks like that one, the slightly lighter one there, is flicking his ears, is probably a young one. Oh, we've definitely got a pretty large crocodile there. I don't know if anyone else could correct me. I think when I was there used to be 5 crocodiles in there, in that Tau waterhole. I don't know if anyone can let me know if there's still 5. But these crocs are most definitely a lot bigger than they used to be. And I've just been reliably informed, yes, there's still 5, so everyone has stayed resident there. April Owl, good morning from sunny Connecticut. Have raspberry iced tea by my side. Oh, that sounds delicious. I've actually just finished a cup of coffee. Rolling Trouble, hello from Washington. Coffee and water here for the show. Welcome, Rolling Trouble. Diana NC, good morning from a cloudy and cool Seattle. I'm ready for the show with my coffee. Welcome, everyone. Trissop, good day, everyone. Time for the show. Welcome, welcome. Moonfire Wolf, good morning. Thank you all for joining us here. Mindy Tillipal, Kelly, always a pleasure to hear your voice. Thank you, Mindy. It's a pleasure to be here. Charlotte, good morning. I'm from the UK. So am I, Charlotte. Welcome from the UK. There's a good number of oh, hello. I was just going to start talking about wildebeest, and we've had an elephant intrusion. Ha, King's Camp. Here we are at the King's Camp camera. Bizarrely, I seem like I've been job hopping, but I also spent 3 months at King's Camp. King's Camp in the Timbavati. This waterhole was much smaller when I was there, again, many years ago. Is that elephant? That almost a tree wisteria he's chomping, but I can't imagine it is. But it could be. If it is, please don't eat the tree wisteria. They're my favourite trees. Oh no, maybe it's not. It's quite difficult to tell. That one that's just walked off spraying water. Or it could be is it a sjambok pod? It's going to be nothing in a minute. Maybe it's a sjambok pod. It's difficult to tell. But whatever it is, it looks delicious. See, look, I love watching. Look how he's using that tusk on the right hand side there. Is he going to get it? He's grabbing bits with the tip of his trunk. No, not worth the effort. This tree lives another day. And Basio, good Tuesday to all. Coffee and donut here. Oh, nice. It's a pleasure bringing you these sows, Amber. Bob from Kalamazoo. Good day, Kelly. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday indeed. Thanks very much, Bob. We currently have a fairly large elephant who has just given up trying to destroy or feed on whatever tree they were trying. Oh, we've got a giraffe. I so enjoy watching these cameras. It's so unobtrusive. I'm sure everyone has seen other. Is that elephant going to chase that giraffe? I wonder. Everyone has seen the sort of safaris from game drive vehicles. I'm a very firm believer in ethical guiding. We respect our environment. We give everything space. It's going to shout at that. Are you going to shout at that giraffe? I always believe in giving. Is there another elephant coming in from the right? Maybe. It looks like it's being approached by something. Sorry, my policy is always. My goal is to never make an animal change its behaviour in any way, shape, or form, whether it's change direction or give us a warning or stop feeding or anything else. But you know 100%. You wouldn't know that giraffe was behind. There we go. I think there's another elephant coming in from the right, maybe, a bigger one. That to me looked like a... Is there something else coming? It looked to me like that elephant was reacting to something that was coming in. But maybe not, I could be wrong. That almost looked like a... I can hear oxpeckers. Maybe not. That giraffe was just having a drink there. Single file elephant. That almost looked like one of those moments that I've seen it once ever in my entire guiding career on the movies where everyone depicts the elephants wander along holding each other's tails with their trunks. I've seen it one elephant hold one tail with its trunk once. Jojo, do I have a favourite elephant sighting? They're all so special. Wow, there's been lots. I'm just trying to think. Bridget, yes, we do indeed. We learn so much from these cameras. I'm just trying to think of my favourite elephant sighting. Wow. Hello. I've stopped talking because I've been quiet. That's ridiculous. That is gorgeous. How nice is that? See, you just can't... You can't get this without these cameras. JJ, do I have a favourite elephant sighting? I do. I've just thought of one. Potential slight trigger warning. It was actually an elephant, a young elephant had died. We're not sure why. And I was actually watching lions close to. It was in the Sabi Sands. I was watching some lions that weren't feeding on the dead elephant, but they were close to it. And a herd crossed a river. And this herd crossed a river. It was its favourite, but it was one of the most memorable. A whole herd crossed the Sabi River, and they chased these lions, and they went and stood around this dead elephant. It was maybe 2 or 3 years old that had died, and they were completely silent. I sat maybe a good, I gave them lots of space, maybe 50, 60 meters away, and just watched. And they circled this youngster that had died, and they stood completely still, completely silent for maybe 7 or 8 minutes. And then they turned across the river and left without making a sound. So maybe not my favourite. It was actually quite emotional. It's certainly one of the most memorable elephant sightings I've had. It was very, very memorable and special that I was allowed to be a part of that very emotional sighting with that whole herd. Okay, good morning, Laura MC from Texas. The baboons on the video reminds me of a question you have. Why would a male baboon kidnap a tiny baby baboon and keep it away from its mother? Good question. I think we're just going to pop back over to town now, but I'm going to think through your question out loud, Laura. It would depend on what I would need to know a bit more about what the lead up to the kidnapping was and what the outcome of the kidnapping was. If it was violent, it could be that maybe they were trying to free up the gene pool. I'm not sure if it was a dominant male, a young male. Sorry, this is a very roundabout answer. Since I've learned more and more about animal behaviour from companion animals, companion animal behaviour, I've been studying for the last couple of years. I spend a lot of time saying it depends. So I couldn't really answer because I'd need to know the context. If it was a young male baboon, maybe I wanted to play with it. If it was I can't answer that, Laura, without knowing the context, I'm afraid. There could be many reasons. Did the baby die? Did the male give it back? Maybe it's a bit tricky to know without knowing the context. Well, these wildebeest are nicely relaxed there over at Cowell's Waterhole. I can see that big koppie in the background there. There's lots of koppies dotted throughout, koppies or sort of little hills throughout Madikwe. And I always used to struggle with the names of them, but I think that koppie we can see there in the background there was Mabalajweng, Majwaneng, and there was Madonna, but I know Madonna is actually behind on the opposite side of the lodge. So that, I think, might be Mabalajweng, that koppie we can see. And it's where we all used to look for leopards in Madikwe that were tricky. But when we did find leopards, we often found them on those koppies. But yeah, it would get very noisy in Madikwe when the wildebeest calves were all born often quite a similar time, not quite as strict as Impala birth, but you would just hear meh, 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 meh all over the place when those little wildebeest were first born. Back at King's Camp. I always feel really bad watching giraffes drink. Not this is better because I know I'm not interrupting this giraffe because I'm not there. Oh, that little flick. Did he even get any? That flick that you often see giraffes do, I'm sure people have told you before, is there's a valve sort of just at the sort of towards the bottom of their head, and they flick that valve. The valve closes to prevent basically head rush, and then they reckon that little flick is to help that valve reopen when they lift their heads up again. Well, I haven't actually researched that for a long time now. And I'm sure science is going to be teaching us lots of new things all the time. Teddy Lad Lulu, good afternoon from a warm, sunny northwest of England. Sunny and warm in the northwest of England. What a delightful change. And Mindy, yes, that sky is incredibly blue there today. These giraffes look very regal with that's beautiful light on them actually. Oh, Andy can lick his own nose. Oxpeckers on that giraffe as well. I always find, I think it was actually when I was talking with Trishala recently, I always think giraffes look very sort of, they consider everything. It's like you can almost see the cogs turning while they decide what to do next. Just had a little bit of a freeze there. I'm not sure if that was me or the cameras. Apologies if it was the cameras. Laura, a bit more details. The male from another troop, and he kept the baby for 48 hours. And even when the females tried to get it back. See, that to me is an aggressive behaviour. I would say there was potentially violence intended. I don't know if the baby survived. 48 hours is a long time. That to me sounds like if it's from another troop, they compete. So, oh, he's gonna have a drink. So that male baboon from another troop, so that baby, if it wasn't his baby, that is basically a competition for resources. That baby's going to grow up and eat his troop's resources. So I would say it's probably more likely to be a negative behaviour, maybe trying to do that baby some harm. April Lau. Yeah, it was an interesting story. It was very emotional actually. Me and my guest, we sat in complete silence the whole time, and then just sort of drove off and went and had some sundowners. It was quite impactful. I often use it as an example when people ask if elephants mourn, grieve for lost herd members. I use that story as an example and leave people to make their own decisions about it. Now, come on, giraffe, get down there and have a nice drink. Oh, double giraffe drinking. Ready for the flick? Oh, there is not so much of a flick. Are we going to get a flick on this other one? Oh, it's a long drink. Oh, didn't quite pick it up. And Mindy, yes, they're very deliberate in their actions and movements, I find with giraffes. Oxbill passengers back again. Oh, going again. That giraffe has got an oxpecker on each ear. How very annoying. I'm so used to stopping talking when giraffes drink. I do. Oh, who's coming in now? That was definitely someone. Sounded like a splush sound. Maybe those elephants are still around somewhere. They certainly upset those giraffes. But yeah, I instinctively go quiet when I see giraffes drink. But the beauty of these cameras is we don't actually need to. In the hide there. I've never actually been to that hide. Oh, there's some baboons. Talking of baboons, I spy a baboon in the background there. See, now baboons. I'd like to talk to you about baboons. They are one of my favourite animals to spend time watching. And it's not easy to watch. Oh, there's something going on there. I wonder if someone is going into that hide. But I really do enjoy watching baboons. It's sometimes difficult from a vehicle because they're often nervous of vehicles, but on a camera, I would have watched baboons all day, but I'm curious as to what's going on. What are these giraffes looking at? I thought I heard sort of a splush, and if I didn't know better, it almost sounded like a when hippos come up and blow water out of their noses. But I'm fairly sure there's no hippos in here, so. And I always feel so bad if giraffes do try and drink, um, and then they don't. I'm just having a look around to wonder what. I'm sure I heard. It sounded like water blowing. Oh, look, those baboons are coming in. It might have been a baboon splashed in the water, or even if giraffes can see it, they're quite flighty, especially when they're around water and waiting to drink. So maybe one of those baboons sort of jumped off a branch or something and gave them a fright. Maybe that's what it was. I'm half expected to see a baboon hand coming over the front of the camera in a minute. Hear those gentle calls of those hornbills behind the camera somewhere. It's so peaceful. Everyone just going about their business. Oh, we've got a little jackal there by the looks of it. I can't quite see. Unless I'm wrong, I think black-backed and side-striped jackals are present in Madikwe. I might be wrong. It's been a while since I was there. Oh, it looks like he's almost a little bit stiff. This is a black-backed jackal. But Madikwe's actually got a really good population of jackal. Um, almost always found around sites of carcasses. Really healthy population of jackal. The Tswana word for jackal is pakojwe. I remember from when I was working there. Wow, apparently there was a brown hyena at Tau last night. I've heard brown hyenas at Tau Waterhole before, and they're noisy. Really good population of brown hyena there as well. But the Tswana name for jackal is pakojwe. There's also a road that's not actually too far from Tau. It runs north-south called Pakojwe. And on this road, there's a Pakojwe open clearing. And to my joy, I once had a jackal on this road at this open spot. And I was able to say, I've got one Pakojwe, Pakojwe open clearing. And that's probably how I remembered the Tswana word for jackal. Always very alert. I actually watched it for the first time. I'd never seen it before. I watched a jackal digging up what we believe was a burrowing scorpion a while ago. Not here, but I'd never seen that behaviour before. Just dig, 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 finding it, chomp, 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 chomp. Omnivores, nice varied diet. Obviously, the more varied a diet is, what's that behind there? It's like a lapwing or something. That bird has just wandered away from where that jackal was going into the bushes. Has he got something? I'm just looking at this sort of sand, this calcrete sand. Oh, we've got an impala joining in. That jackal's looking for something. Maybe he's looking for something under the rocks. Maybe he's actually looking for scorpions. But see where that impala's walking now? That is brilliant tracking substrate. This chalk or calcrete, it's like a chalky stuff in Madikwe, breaks down into a very, very fine sand. Brilliant for following tracks on. And that impala doesn't look too concerned. By that jackal. Going to go off and carry on looking for maybe something to eat. We're back to King's Camp. I wonder if these giraffe have all finished having their drinks now. Oh, look at that baboon. I could watch baboons all day. Look, 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 look. It's just that. At the back there. I actually had an amazing baboon sighting in. Oh, I've had lots of amazing baboon sightings. Oh, Bob from Kalamazoo. There was once a small croc in this pan. Well, maybe that's what gave those giraffe a fright. But they've seemed to have settled down, so maybe it was all in their heads, as it is quite often with giraffes. Yeah, fantastic baboon sighting. And I think that one's just sticking out from bit. There we go. It's on that branch at the back. Oh, we've got some jackal again. Where's he gone? So, old Donio over here in Kenya. Just saw a jackal wandering out of shot there. Oh, am I going to be tested on my bird sounds now? My Kenya bird sounds. I've never actually been to Kenya, if I'm completely honest. I would love to go. A very typical, what many people see as the iconic African tree, looks like maybe an umbrella thorn, shaped by the browse lines of animals. A very dark soil type there, it looks like. Looks like it's a bit windy. No, I would love to go. But yeah, that dark soil almost looks like a black cotton soil. There are also lots of that in Madikwe. Nightmare when it rains. Back across to King's Camp. Our giraffes are having a good feed after having a nice drink of water. It's really getting into that golden hour. Now that sunlight is beautiful. See, look, I think it's those baboons that are making those giraffes jump. So I can see there's one on at the back there. Oh yeah, I was telling you about my baboon sighting. It was actually in Madikwe, and we sat with them for about an hour, completely relaxed with the vehicles, but sort of, a good sort of 30 meters, 30 or so meters away. So they weren't disturbed by us. And we watched, and I knew baboons would often have a sentry, so someone sitting up high in the branches to look for danger, keep an eye out for things. And we just sat and watched the whole process from we got there probably, you know, maybe an hour and a half before sunset. And we watched them feeding and we watched the babies playing. And it wasn't a big baboon. It was a sort of sub-adult that was obviously on sentry duty. And they were sitting on a log, um, and just sort of watching the world go by while everyone else was playing and feeding, and the little ones were playing, and the older ones were grooming. And then the sun started dropping, and all of a sudden, this guy who was sitting up in the log, he didn't make a sound, no big movements. He just got up and started moving, and one by one, everyone followed, and they were heading back to. Um, they actually roost at the top of some caves there in Madikwe. And he sort of initiated it was time to go home. But it was fascinating. He didn't sort of call or alert anyone. He was the timekeeper for the evening. I can hear lapwings in the background there. They sounded upset by something. Oh look, there they are. What are they doing? Those lapwings just come up off the ground, or were they mobbing something? Are they chasing something around? Oh, Mindy, you've been to Kenya. Wow. All the way from the US, that is a long journey. I would love to go to Kenya. I've never been to Tanzania or Kenya. I've never been east. I've spent obviously lots of time in South Africa, been to Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Malawi. But I've never been east, and I would love to. Mindy, maybe if we end up back in Kenya, you can help me with some bird calls then. Aha! I recognise this scene well. This is also back at Tao. And it's maybe time for the illies to come in. There's always a constant stream of elephants coming to drink at that Tao waterhole. There's very clear game paths in and out of the waterhole. Oh, bathroom time. Okay, maybe the elephant's changed its mind. But I remember once it was in the dry season. It was very dry in Madikwe, and a couple of us we stood at that waterhole, and we stopped counting at 150 elephants from the deck of the lodge. Um, and I actually used to, when I was there, I used to try and help sometimes with the camera that was there. Um, and I know exactly where it sits as well, unless it's moved. But yeah, it looks like those. Oh yeah, those elephants are on their way in. But what often happens is you will get a herd coming in on one path, and then they sort of leave. It's almost like a rotational system, and you um, often find them very respectfully waiting in line. Jada, do I have a favourite wildlife sighting from Tao? From the actually lodge. Um, hmm, I think wild dogs chased is it a waterbuck or an impala? Or it was a kudu. Wild dogs chased something into that waterhole. It was very um, traumatic, um, but very exciting. But yeah, also quite distressing. And also I didn't see it, but I've heard it. I've heard brown hyenas fighting from the lodge as well there at Tau, and they are noisy. Oh, wildebeest on the move. We used to call it a mini Madikwe migration when a big group of wildebeest started on their road there. But yeah, JJ, from Tau, there are so many. But yeah, that was quite dramatic when the dogs chased an antelope of some sort, I can't remember what it was, into the waterhole and proceeded to dispatch it very, very close to the lodge. And we often used to get oh no, back the other way. What's going on there? Is there something coming? That's quite a fast run for wildebeest just moving around. I know they often sort of canter off in a particular direction, but that looked quicker than normal, so I'm definitely leaning forward to keep my eyes peeled to see if they're being followed by something. But often, before drive, we would often when I was there was what was his name? Oh, just an update that apparently the wildebeest have been quite twitchy. It will be, you often find lions hanging around Tau Waterhole. I'm sure you guys know as well as I do, at least you used to. And that's exactly what I was just saying. We often used to hear male lions in the morning. I can't think of his name now. It means the walker in Tswana. I'll think of his name, but there was a big dominant male lion that we often used to hear in the mornings before we went on drive, and it was often one of the guides there, actually called Ernie if you're watching, and he would often go and track this big male lion, because this lion was very well known for he wouldn't hesitate to come and investigate if someone was tracking him on foot, let's put it that way. And we would often hear, I found him, and it would often be the result of a little bit of a run-in with him. But he was very, very, very often at Tau. Here's our guinea fowls. They've always hung around at Tau Waterhole. Oh, it's so nice to see it, actually. Good scanning. I can't pick anything out, but it could be there might just, often they're further back in the bushes there. There's actually a little cut road sort of midway. It's further over to the right than that, much further across towards the right hand side of the waterhole. That would be a cut line, and there's actually I think there's an old pump that was on that road, and we would often find lions not too far from that pump, and they would hang around there for the day, and then start getting active like we know they do at night time. So it could be that they're laying up in there through the warm bit of the day. That's one road that we've just gone past. Or was it that one? Yeah, there's actually an old pump down there. Karoo, yeah, maybe if it's not a lion after them, then maybe they were sort of just getting wafts, getting smells. Good work, Zoomies. That's great scanning. But often if there's lions in an area and the wind swirls a bit, so elephants off there in the distance. Yeah, if there's a lion in the area and the wind swells, those wildebeest will just get a waft, and because they don't really know what direction that smell is coming from, or if there's anything actually there. They just sort of run around a bit. I'm trying to think of this male lion's name. I can't think of it. That's going to annoy me. We're going to finish and I'm going to remember the name and have to get someone to tell you tomorrow maybe. But he was a big lion. Often resident around town. We would find him maybe 2-3 times a week. He would go off on his territorial patrols and then turn up back, and we would hear him very much proclaiming his arrival when he arrived back at the lodge. I'm sure it began with M. There was the Swana word for the walker because he used to cover massive distances. And when I first arrived there, he used to be part of a 2-lion coalition, and his brother was actually killed by buffalo, and he still maintained his territory for many years, just being a single lion. And then he was eventually pushed out of the area, and he actually went down to join 2 of his sons in the south. And he was ultimately killed by other lions, but he was found. His body was found, and it was like a circle of life. He was a very well-known lion, and yeah, I think he was like 12 or 13 when he died. So really nice to be able to follow his whole story, but I can't remember his name. So unusual at Tao that it's more unusual to not see elephants. They're often. Oh, got a shadow. Got a shadow. Who are you going to be? Oh, it's more elephants. There we go. And looks like some little Franklin there as well. Oh, we've got an egret down there. Don't chase the birdies. Come on, leave them alone. Feeling around in that. I wonder if that ever holds water. It almost looks like it's looking for water in there. It's like a fairly youngish male. Maybe he's originally from that other herd that we saw, starting to branch out on his own a bit, start exploring. Oh, we're off to Rose's Pan in Balule for more elephant action. Oh, that light is just gorgeous. Actually, it looks quite dry there. I love listening to the sound of elephants drink. Oh, you're dropping so much. Sploosh. It's so nice to be able to watch all of these animals completely undisturbed and uninterrupted by our presence. What an absolute pleasure to spend some time just watching them. And thank you all so much for sending in your questions and comments. It's been a pleasure to have you guys join us. and enjoy the rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening. And we hope to see you again soon. Elephant says goodbye.